The Chiefs started their rebuild process by hiring a new defensive coordinator, and the clock is ticking. We're going to talk about it right here. Well, about halfway through my film review, news hit a lot faster than I expected it to, so the film review for the AFC Championship game is out the window for now. We'll probably revisit it here in a few weeks, but for right now, there's just too much to talk about. The Chiefs actually sprung into action and moved a lot faster, both with the Sutton firing as well as hiring his replacement. A lot faster than I expected them to. And what they've done is hired Steve Spagnuolo, gonna come in and make a lot of changes. We're going to talk about those here in a few, but very significant about just how fast that happened. If you're new here, I'm Ryan, and this is me going rogue, RGR football, and welcome to the show. This is the start of the offseason. If you've been here all season, thanks for hanging out. And if you are new, make sure you hit the subscribe, the notification, hit that bell icon, leave your comment below, and give me a thumbs up if you like what you're seeing. We're going to move into the offseason directly with everything that's going on, draft-wise, Senior Bowl, etc. But we got to get this off the table because it kind of resets the entire process with what is going on in Kansas City. And this episode, as long as all of my postseason coverage on this channel, is brought to you by Insurance Incorporated. They're an independent company in Shawnee, serving Kansas and Missouri, giving you all of your insurance needs. They've been in business for over 40 years. They're independent and they work with the best in the business, including auto owners insurance. Together, they provide you with home, auto, life, and business insurance for anything that you might need. All you got to do is hit this website, insuranceinckc.com, or give them a call. Go over and get your quote today. Now, I know a lot of you were with me looking for Rex Ryan to be the hire for this defensive coordinator shift. And the clock is ticking, and the reason that I say that is because it has to happen fast. And the initial report was that Rex was in the running right away. I found it a little bit, a long shot for the two personalities of Andy Reid and Rex Ryan to get together and work on one staff, one reporting the other. So that is the way that it worked out. I can't say I'm terribly surprised, but it was a good option up front. And the reason the clock is ticking is because with that decision going away from Rex or anybody else that runs a 3-4 as a base D, switching over to Spags, as I'm going to call him. A lot of his players call him that. He runs a base 4-3 under. Completely different in terms of responsibilities, though there are times that it will look very similar to a 3-4 on the field. I'm starting to dig into some of the film of both him and some of the other teams that use the 4-3 under quite a bit. So getting ready to do that. I'll have some film for you here in the next video or two. But that is a significant change in terms of not only what the role is that a player will play, but how you go about recruiting and the skill set, the athleticism set that you need for those particular players. You have guys around the league that do this specifically. The linebackers in Seattle, KJ Wright, Bobby Wagner, epic, down-the-line prototype players for that system. Luke Kuechly, middle linebacker in a 4-3, over as well. And that's really just the shift in how you line up the defensive tackles. We'll talk about the mechanics of it here in another video. But those players are specific, and they have specific skill sets, instinctually, athletically. What the matrix is going to show from Rogue Analytics, and I'll show you all about that here coming up as well, is specific roles that need specific traits. And what that means is fitting existing players into new roles is sometimes difficult. There's a lot of crossover, and you've probably seen a lot of write-ups from some very knowledgeable people and some folks, some bloggers that feel like they know what they're talking, and they may have experience in it, but it's not quite the same at the professional level. There is some crossover. There are a lot of guys that will be able to play in this defense, including Chris Jones, including Derek Nottie, including Dorian O'Daniel. There are other question marks in terms of role and responsibility. including both the edge rushers. Justin Houston can play any position pretty much, including coming down into a 5 technique. But it opens some doors for some of the younger guys, including Breland Speaks, obviously Nadi and O'Daniel as well. The big question mark is going to be at linebacker, and when I do the video about responsibilities and how they're going to function, it'll be a little bit clearer. But there's a couple of precursors. Reggie Ragland's a 3-4 guy, always has been. Played it in college. When the Bills went to the 4-3, he didn't do so well. Now, Reggie's come on lately, and I think he's a guy that may be able to buck that trend. I look for him to still be in the competition. I don't see them parting ways with him anytime soon. I expect there to be a competition at camp. Anthony Hitchens, on the other hand, played in that 4-3 in Dallas, understands the roles at least. I don't know that he's perfectly equipped to be a middle linebacker and take on blocks. It may be that I'm shaded a little bit by how he performed in 2018. And actually, I talked today on 610 in Kansas City, and there was a good point brought up that maybe this is just a reset for Anthony Hitchens. That may be the key. That he can return to something he's a little more comfortable with and use his athleticism in a way that he can be more instinctual and more aggressive with. That's what the key is going to be. As far as Spagnuolo goes, aggressive guy, blitzing guy, will mix his coverages, will show a lot of things and move around. And I think that's key. What we saw, in particular contrast to Sutton against the Patriots, how he didn't disguise things enough, how he didn't make an effort to throw anybody off pre-snap. That's a completely out-the-window concept with Spagnuolo. He will shift. He will show you things that aren't there and try to get you to jump at ghosts. And I think that's a great thing for this particular defensive unit. So there'll be more to come on him as I dig through some of his film and some of the other film on the 4-3 under. Let me know what you think of this hire. It's a big, big deal because they have that timeline where they have to get this defense up and running. And, you know, that's actually a very good point. They have to get this defense up and running quickly. Normally, it's a 2, maybe 3-year process to switch over from the 3-4 to the 4-3. And it depends both on personnel, but it also depends on just learning something completely new. In fact, Pat Kerwin says it should be a minimum of a 2-year change. So that's why the clock is started. But they're getting it done early. It looks like they had that plan kind of all along. I will not be surprised to find out in a few years that this was coming post the Titans loss a year ago, where they knew a change was going to have to come. And a 4-3 was under consideration at the time, especially given that Spagnuolo worked for Andy Reid with the Eagles. Very successful in having a couple of DC jobs as well as head coaching stints. So a guy with experience, a guy that Andy trusts, and I think that's what it really boils down to. So with that said, that's my update for tonight. I'll have another video for you next week. We'll do a live session probably Sunday night, like always, as if there was a game. So tune in and let me know in the comments, what's the best time for a Sunday night thing now that it's the off season? We're not waiting on games to conclude and whatnot. I'd like to know what works for you guys so I can kind of plan out the off season. But as always, let me know if you like what you see. Hit the subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.